What would happen if Muzan was pitted against the powerful forces of the Upper Moons and Hashiras? If they all worked together, would they be able to defeat Muzan with ease, or would it simply be another minor inconvenience that he could manage? The odds appear to be in Muzan's favor, but I personally believe that making this choice won't be an easy matter. So stay tuned till the end because the last part might shock you. But before we continue, we'll be splitting up the video into two scenarios, one where Muzan was poisoned and the other one was where he's full of power. The first matchup pits Hashira's and Upper Moon against Poison Muzan. So what exactly is the poison? Well, the fourth drug created by Tamayo, Yushiro, and Shinobu is an anti-kibutsuji drug. As the name implies, it consists of 4 stages. The first is the human conversion stage, followed by the biological aging stage, the stage that prevents biokinesis, and the fourth, the stage that destroys cells. Because of this, Muzan is weakened to the point where he is no longer completely unbeatable. So how will things play out in the first scenario? Well, the top 3 Upper Moons, along with Gyome and Sanemi, will be the only ones capable of competing on equal footing with Muzan in this war. Out of all the characters, these 5 have the highest chance to deal with some serious damage. Despite all that's going on, is there anyone in the Alliance who can take on Poison Muzan alone? Well, without help, maybe Kokushibo is the only one who would be able to compete with Poison Muzan on his own, because Muzan is still strong. Muzan will be able to manage everyone else, even in his drug state, because he still can use most of his attacks. He does become significantly weaker, but not to the point where anyone can defeat him. Akaza, Doma, Gyome, and Sanemi will take the initiative as the fight progresses. While everyone else waits for a surefire opportunity to land a lethal blow, they will all be the vanguard. But how will they exactly fight? Well, Kokushibo will utilize his moon-breathing technique to surprise Muzan and may severely harm him. Shinobu will then get a chance to administer more of her own wisteria poison to Muzan, but it won't have the same impact as Tamayo's drug, and Muzan may even counterattack while she tries to land a hit. As she doesn't have a strong defense, at the last second, someone will suddenly appear in front of her, as Muzan's attack is about to reach her. It'll turn out to be Giyu, who will tragically die after throwing himself in front of her, saving her from Muzan's attack. Everyone else will continue to fight Muzan while Shinobu listens to Giyu's parting words. Shinobu was one of the few people Giyu could tolerate to be with, so it would make sense he'll take a blow for her. Nakimi will then attempt to set up her Infinity Castle to gain an advantage, but Muzan will be able to eliminate her before that happens. With the Alliance losing members left and right, what will they do next? Well, as the 2 fastest members of the Alliance, Kaigaku and Sanemi will team together to mount a counterattack. Muichiro will join in the fray and help them get some hits in. The demons would try to take most of the strikes because they will heal back, but in most situations, it also wouldn't work for them, and they'll keep getting harmed. Among them, Akaza will be the one to withstand the majority of attacks, protecting Sanemi and Gyome from suffering fatal wounds. It might be out of character, but they realize that if they want to beat Muzan, they'll have to make sure they have an advantage in their numbers. Muzan will continue to sustain more damage, but he will still be able to recover because even in his poison state, his regeneration is still insane. Mitsuri and Obanai will be average in this battle since there are more heavy hitters, so it looks like the power couple isn't all that powerful. Since Kaigaku is the weakest demon present, he's more likely to be defeated next. Both sides will continue to lose stamina quickly as the fight goes on. And Muzan's regeneration because of Tamayo's poison will give the Alliance some leeway in the fight at hand. When given the chance, Mitsuri and Obanai will be the first to attack, and Muzan will barely be able to counter them. Doma will then use his cryokinesis to potentially immobilize Muzan as much as possible, while Gyome and Kokushibo will deliver the final blow. It is crucial to remember that Kokushibo has already unlocked Transparent World, and that Gyome is the only demon slayer who might be able to do so in this battle. By doing this, they will be able to predict Muzan's movements and evade them better, making the decisive strike at last. But Muzan can't be beheaded, right? Well, that's correct, but the Hashiras and Upper Moons will prevail in the end of the war, because they can just repeat the same process over and over again, or delay Muzan as much as possible for the sun to come up. At that point, the Upper Moons will retreat, and the surviving Hashiras will have to keep him busy until he disintegrates. Now let's move on to the battle of the Upper Moons and Hashiras against a full-power Muzan. How do you think this battle would turn out if they struggle to defeat the poisoned Muzan? Well, here's our answer. Now, Muzan has full command over his blood demon art, and doesn't have any restrictions. First things first, won't Muzan be able to instantaneously explode and destroy all the demons who are considering rebelling against him? Well, again, for the video to be a bit more fun, let's say he couldn't do that because the Upper Moons are too strong. He's deadlier than ever, and when he goes into his combat form, getting close to him might be impossible. Michael Jackson is back and so overpowered. All of the Hashiras would have to instantly release their Demon Slayer mark as soon as the battle starts. This is not a battle where they can afford to test the opponent's strength before using their full power. The more they drag out this fight, the worse the odds it gets for them. Naturally, the alliance of Upper Moons and Hashiras will be forced to rely primarily on long-range strikes and avoid engaging him in close combat as much as possible. But how will they do this? Well, they could use Doma's cryokinesis again to limit Muzan's movements while striking him with long-range abilities, like some of the forms in Kokushibo's Moon Breathing and Sanemi's Wind Breathing. If Muzan does close the distance, the only ones who can still keep up with Muzan's tremendous speed are the top 3 Upper Moon demons, Kaigaku and Sanemi. But Muzan will easily bridge the gap with them, witnessing everyone around themselves collapse. Most of the Hashiras will get overwhelmed by the immense pressure Muzan is applying. Even Shinobu's poison won't be able to harm him, as any wounds they deal him will heal right away. Instantly! The entire entourage would have to inflict as much damage as possible at the same time trying to deal a massive attack. Even if Shinobu were to inflict as much poison as possible, and stalling him as much as possible would be a hard feat. In their current situation, how is the Alliance doing so far? Well, it's safe to say that Hashiras like Mitsuri, Muichiro, and Obanai are probably dead, along with Upper Moons like Kaigaku, Nakime, and Akaza. Yes, in this scenario, Akaza would be one of the first to fall because his fighting style completely relies on getting up close with Muzan, can obviously take advantage of. Gyome and Kokushibo would try to fill in the gap and give the others a chance to attack Muzan, but when all said and done, even if Shinobu and Doma, who are the trump cards in this fight, go all out, or even if Gyome and Kokushibo utilize Transparent World, it's all complete one-sided massacre for the Demon King, and the Alliance will be burned to ashes. Hell, even if Rengoku and Tenjin randomly showed up out of nowhere mid-fight, they wouldn't be able to do a thing. In this final scenario, following the original storyline of Muzan easily defeating anyone, all Hashira and Upper Moons would be no exception. If this scenario were to happen in the anime, it would make proper sense. Muzan would be the villain who once had it all. Power, fame, allies. But would eventually come and lose it all when the Upper Moons betray him. He would end up alone or forced to restart his empire from scratch. However, since anime is anime, the good guys always win in the end. This would ultimately still result in Tanjiro being the main character and turning into the strongest demon known to mankind in order to defeat Muzan. However, if they choose not to go that route, the other option would be after half of the Hashira and Upper Moon dies fighting Muzan, Tanjiro would still turn into a demon, but would be a much weaker version compared to the one in the manga. With his newly gained power addition to the help of the remaining Hashira, and Upper Moon defeats Muzan with the cost of his own life and many others. This final battle would turn out to be crazy beyond imagination. Hope you all enjoyed it, and don't forget to smash that like button. Until next time, peace.